Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers.
Well, hello and welcome to Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers, where we give it to you straight and where we learn more about the people and the stories behind this great club. Behind the Roar is proudly sponsored by Pro Wrestling Australia. And talking about our major sponsor as well, PWA, a couple of really big shows coming up for them. They are announcing the Coliseum. That's at the Metro Theatre, George Street, Sydney, on the 12th and the 13th of October. So not too far away. Check this out. Sunday, the 13th of October, NRL legend James Graham. That's right. He's going to be climbing into the squared circle. He's hoping to shut up the man they call the example, Ricky South, who's been running his mouth off a bit about Jimmy Graham and rugby league players having no part in pro wrestling. Well, we'll wait and see. Get along and take it all in if you want. On Saturday, this is breaking news too, by the way, the man they call the Thief, Jimmy Townsend, he's called out current WWE superstar Grayson Waller. So they're going to meet on Saturday, the 12th of October. So if you want to head along, should be a couple of good shows. Be interesting to see how Jimmy Graham goes, the British Beefcake, in pro wrestling. Tickets, just go to Ticketek for all your tickets now as PWA takes on the WWE and also the NRL. Again, our thanks to PWA, our sponsor on Behind the Roar. Well, on the couch this week for the final episode of 2024 is West Tigers head of football, Matthew Betsey. He's been on here before, but we thought an opportune time to get Betsey back in the couch to talk about the year that's gone and the year ahead. So, Matt, thanks very much for jumping in.
Thank you.
With the season now done and dusted, also a chance to reflect, I guess, on what went well, what didn't go so well, and the areas that as a club we need to improve on, right? And before you know it, I guess pre-season will be back upon us in November. It'll be full steam ahead and we won't have time to catch our breath. Mate, before we chat, Matt, if we can, I'll just rattle through a bit of club news then, and then we'll dive into our chat. A huge thank you also to all West Tigers members for your support right throughout the season. And those of you that were at Campbelltown last Friday, an awesome sea of West Tigers colour to have a full house at what was hoped to be a victory for us. It didn't all go to script. It certainly didn't end up how we wanted it to end up. But right throughout the season, you guys, whether it winning or losing, you've been there. I think we've had 4 or 5 sellouts. So again, to West Tigers members, thank you so much. And to supporters and fans that might not be members, but do come along to games, thank you guys as well. Jump on board. The new membership packages are up and running, so please jump on board. And if you can't get to the games, there's a new 5-game flexi membership that might be suitable for you. Or you can just do the West Tigers Club membership. That's a non-ticketed option. We can talk more about that. So, yeah, a big loss to the NRL team, to Parramatta. Thumped at Campbelltown, our NRLW team. They performed probably the best game of the season. Unfortunately, they went down to the Cowboys in Townsville, 24 points to 22, despite outscoring the Cowboys 5 tries to 4. So it was a heartbreaking loss for the girls, but they are making strides and they've had a lot of injury worries, particularly with a squad that's not as big as the NRL. It can be difficult. Well done to our Harvey Norman women's premiership team. They had a 14-4 win over the Dragons. So well done to our girls in the Harvey Norman women's. You will know by now, of course, that Jack Bird, he's the latest player to announce that he's joining our squad for next season. So we welcome Jack and his partner, Murray. I think that's how you pronounce it, Murray. So officially, welcome to the club. And finally, I've just touched on it. The membership is up and running. New slogan too for the club, restructuring, rebranding, if you like. The call of the Tiger to one jungle, no limits. You like that, Betsey? One jungle, no limits?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, we have 3 home grounds, right? We've got 2, 3 broad catchment areas. I think the whole purpose of it is that regardless of whether you came to this club as a Magpies fan, a Tigers fan, from the southwest or the inner west, this place is one jungle. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's the strength of what this club is all about. So I'm really looking forward to next year and the members getting on board and supporting us again next year.
Where do we begin? We talk footy then. I tell you what I would like to know, firstly. Now, your new role, so you've stepped up from head of pathways, and that was at the start of this season, wasn't it, to head of football, a different role, and now head of pathways sort of report into you. Responsibilities have broadened, bit more pressure on you, and I guess there's a few more phone calls to those player managers, right? How you enjoying that side of it?
Yeah. It's I've really loved the step up into the head of football role, and it's been a challenging year, but I think one where we've had to sort of lay the platform for the future success of the club. It's not usual what we went through. Changes at the board level, at CEO level, and some staff level. So that's not normal. So to be a part of that sort of building the platform to the future it was a good challenge that I was willing to get my hands on.
Yeah, I guess we sort of forget that a bit, don't we? That there was a real big shake-up before the season, before a ball was even kicked. Sure, pre-season was well underway, but Richo came along, a new board, and Benji's first season as coach. That doesn't really impact too much what happens on the field, but it certainly does play a role in the whole club. There's been significant change. Let's talk about just the football side of things, Betsey. So just the 6 wins, well short of, I don't know if you had any internal targets, but I'm sure they were more than that, or probably a lot more than that. Where are the areas then that you know that we can learn some lessons from and improve on for next season?
Well, I mean, we're in the business of performance. So, we want to go out and win every game that we play in. There's no doubt about that. So that's ultimately what we try and do week in, week out. This year, again, was a little challenging, and we didn't get anywhere near the wins that we were looking for. But I think there's a number of areas that we're looking at as part of the review for what we need to do in the future. It's no secret that the best rosters, are playing September, and we're certainly looking to evolve and build our roster so we've got a premiership winning roster in the future. That takes some time. You've got the salary cap to work within. You've got limitations on the number of spots in your roster. So that takes some time, but we're working through that. As you outlined, some of the signings that we've made, we've got some good juniors coming through. We want to build on those good young juniors with some experience. So we're looking at all those facets. We're reviewing our high performance team and the sports science team. So just making sure that we're on track with the physical side of things. Benji's doing a review of all his coaching staff. We'll bring in a new assistant coach for next year. So all of those things sort of contribute to the review of the season and what we need to get better at. And I think we're looking for those incremental improvements across the board to make sure that we are building sustained success that Benji's talked about quite a lot.
We'll dive a bit deeper into that. What does that review look like? So specifically, what are the things that we're looking at in terms of high performance? Because it's a game of inches out there, and I know off the field too, comparing ourselves to other clubs. What have they got that we haven't got? What have we got that they haven't got? All that sort of stuff. I think it's quite an interesting chat. So we'll dive into some of that stuff. We'll talk about the players that have signed and some of those others coming through. You can't sugarcoat it, right? The season. Really poor. Yep. Wooden spoon.
Yep.
And I won't try and sugarcoat it. But so many young players made their NRL debut with us this year, including a handful of local juniors too. So surely that's got to be probably the big positive that's come out of this season.
Yeah, as I said, we're in the performance business and we're not happy with where that ended up. But there are some evidence of green shoots coming through that we've talked about previously, and one of those was the number of debutants that we had this year, giving young players an opportunity to play first grade and get some experience at NRL level. And 5 or 6 of those I think were local juniors, and that's what I think we're really proud of. We're a development club. We want to provide opportunities to our local young players coming through, and we were able to do that this year. I think we'll be better off for that in the future. some of those games where we had the youngest team probably ever in the NRL, we won. So those young players coming through know what it takes, but it takes a little bit of time for them to also develop their skills at that level as well.
I think one of those games might have been at Campbelltown, Canberra. Luke scored that try too. So I was just looking at it. So that Harold Matts team from 2022, the West Premiership winning team. So now out of that team, we've had 5, I think. So you've got this year, Lockie, Heath, Jordan, Luke. They all made their NRL debut. Kit Laulili from that team as well. Last round, last season, made his. So 5 out of that team have come through. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Tony Sukker as well made his debut out of the Balmain system.
Yeah. And I think they're, as I said, that's a great opportunity that we've been able to do that. And they've really held their own, which is great, and they'll be better for it.
Yeah. And Luke particular, he was only 18 a week prior to being legally allowed to play. As a development club, and that's what we are, right? Richo's made no secret of the fact we are a development club, not a recruitment club. Not to say we don't recruit. As a development club, how do we stack up compared to some of the other clubs? And obviously people probably use Penrith as the yardstick, or why wouldn't you? How do we compare?
Yeah, well, I think generally the younger you go, the more it's based on participation numbers. Generally speaking, the rep competitions are dominated by the clubs who have big junior bases: Newcastle, Canberra, Penrith, Parramatta, and we're equal to, if not a bigger participation base across both West and Balmain. When you join them together, so so we've got a strong junior base, and we should be competing at that level. But generally speaking, a strong junior base is the foundation of being a development club, and then being able to progress those players through the system so that they're ready at each level, but also becoming NRL level. And that's one of the things that we can do as a club. Overseeing West's, Balmain and the MacArthur programs, is align a lot of what we do at the NRL level all the way down through the programs.
So it's like the giant pyramid, right? And that's your 10,000 junior registered players that we are close to getting, aiming for.
Yep.
Excuse me. Then you filter them through. What we have got that other clubs have not got is we got more junior rep teams than any other club. So that surely is a bonus. However, it's also, I guess, a bit of a challenge too.
Yeah, it is. I see it as a real opportunity and a real positive that we've got, double, maybe triple even the numbers of some other NRL clubs at least in the pathway system. So that gives us an opportunity to help develop those young players as they come through, and keep an eye on them and their progression as they develop. And I think we've seen, depending on how you measure success, but we've seen some real success in those programs across the last few years.
And we've got the Cubs and the Raw programs too. And just to explain to our viewers, our listeners, that they're more transition programs for guys and girls coming out of mats, going into ball, and coming out of ball into flag. So they're coming along well too.
Yeah, and I think geographically we are spread as an organisation. So being able to bring the best kids from the Balmain district, the West district, and the MacArthur area, and bring them together post their junior rep season, again, is another massive bonus for us. And the way that the Pathways team puts those teams together, both male and female, and gives opportunities for them to stretch their development, is a real opportunity for us to then prepare for the following season as they progress up to whatever it might be, the next level up.
We've had some good results too in those rep teams. MacArthur West Tigers, they made the grand final, didn't they? That's the under-16s. The Laurie Daly, MacArthur West Tigers, they made the semi-final, so that's in the 18s.
Yep.
Our Lisa Fiola girls, under-17s, they made the grand final.
Yep.
West Magpies lost to the Warriors in the grand final in Mats as well. Ball just missed out in the finals, didn't they? I think with West Magpies. Yep. And then Flegg, likewise, they've sort of just missed out on...
Yeah, 1 point out of the top 5.
Yeah, so certainly the MacArthur and the West teams are performing or have performed well this season. a real tough season for our two Balmain rep teams in Mats and Ball. And I know it's not for a lack of resources. It's not for a lack of effort. Would it be fair to say it is more of a numbers game?
Yeah, that's certainly part of it. And we don't measure success just based on the number of games you win, and making grand finals is great, but those Macarthur and West teams are supported by a big junior base, as we just talked about. So for them to progress through to the back end of the finals is not always a surprise, but a very pleasing result for those players, because we've got some really good players in those programs coming through. The other part to building that success and being a development club is actually developing players and watching them come through. So for me, I take real pride in seeing some of the players come through those programs. You talked about Balmain. Again, didn't get the performances in terms of wins this year, but Jared Haywood, who's the Australian schoolboys hooker, come through the Balmain program, and he got an opportunity at Jersey Flegg level in that good Jersey Flegg side. We've got Mark Tanous as a half coming through that program. We've got Cameron Canaan as an outside back who went into the Jersey Flegg team as a fullback. So the development of those players is still there, even though the results may not be. And if we can continue to produce players like Adam Dewey and Alex Seyfarth and the like through Balmain program, then that's going to be a real benefit for West Tigers. Equally, a player like Archie Duncombe came through and played. I think he played New South Wales Cup in the end. Yeah. He started the year as in the Laurie Daly program for Macarthur West Tigers. So, he progressed from Laurie Daly competition through to SG Ball, through to Jersey Flegg, and played New South Wales Cup. So those are the sorts of things that we see as real positives, and outside of just winning games, the success measures of if we're on the right track.
So we announced quite a few weeks back a group of, I think it was 7 players that have signed us more sort of the second tier type contract. I don't know if you mentioned Kobe Wilson. Yeah. Really good season. Yeah. Lockie Broadlow. Are among those guys.
Yeah, so a number of those players who came through the Jersey Flegg program, who we think are going to be really strong performers for us in the future. We wanted to lock them in and add to the depth of that sort of second tier competition.
Jackson Rami too.
Jackson, who's a local junior. Played in the Balmain area and sort of returning home, and he's really exciting for us. He's spent some time in Newcastle, so coming back to bolster our depth in that second tier sort of competition. And Tim Johansson's probably the other great story. We obviously saw the story behind Tim, and also being able to play NRL this year. But our relationship with Ryan Eastwood at that level is really strong and important. And he turned up and trialled with Sydney Shield earlier in the year and progressed through to NRL. So watching those players develop and get opportunities like that is certainly part of reviewing the season and seeing what worked well, but also what we need to do to perform and get more wins on the field.
I do know that the Balmain, the Cubs as well, they're heading north soon, aren't they, on a end of season. Well, it's a trial game really, but they've worked really well under Bronson Harrison, and even as you probably know, I coach the 16s, and it all the way from sort of South Sydney Roosters territory through Manly, takes in our district as well. I coach in the silver division, but in the gold division at the weekend, Leichhardt Wanderers under 16s, they knocked off, I think it was Coogee Randwick, right? So that's pretty much your strongest 16s competition in Sydney or thereabouts. So obviously some green shoots coming through from the Balmain area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all our Pathways teams have done a really good job of just identifying how we build those programs, put really good coaching support in behind the players coming through, working on the development programs underneath that. So in the Macarthur area, we've got the Johnson Daly program. In Balmain, putting together 16s and 18s programs. So we've got those stepping stones into Harold Matts and SG Ball and beyond. So there's lots of good opportunity. And like you said, the Cubs team, so the best kids out of Wests and Balmain get an opportunity to go up to the far north coast and they play a Titans team, which is an annual event again, which is a great opportunity for them to spend time together. And hopefully what the plan is that by the time they sort of come to Jersey Flag and playing in a West Tigers jersey, they've had sort of 4 or 5 years in a Cubs program. They all know each other. They've played with each other, and they can develop along together.
As you say, getting the salary cap not in shape, but getting the roster in shape, it doesn't happen overnight, and it can take years for some clubs to get it right. We're edging towards that, aren't we? So we've made a number of new signings for next year. You've touched on a few of those: Jack Bird, Royce Hunt, Jarrell Skelton, Jerome Luai, obviously, and Sunia Taruva. Like, some handy players there coming. Who's to say that the squad won't evolve a little bit more closer to kickoff? I'm not privy to that sort of information, but you get the feel that what you've got now coming together is going to be more competitive than what we've had.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been the plan all along. As I said, we've got good young players coming through, but we needed to build some experience. And some of the names you just mentioned, you can see there that they've either got certainly got premiership experience, so they know what it takes to win a competition. They're good people. They've got good characters. They work hard. They're tough. All the things that we're looking for to add to our squad to make sure that we're on the trajectory up. And certainly, there's no doubt that some of the bigger names that we've got coming next year will certainly bolster what we do day in, day out, and hold each other accountable. And that's been a big theme about the reviews that we've done for next year and beyond, is being really clear on roles and responsibilities, and then holding each other accountable. So those players all have those traits where they'll hold each other accountable. They'll hold the young players accountable, and that's how we want to progress.
Well, can we talk about the review? So what happens? What has happened over the past week? Season finish, lost to Parramatta. Take us through the last few days and what a player now goes through.
Yeah, so from a program perspective, we're constantly reviewing. So, myself, Benji and Richo speak regularly about reviewing the components of the program. So that's sort of ongoing, and we know where we're headed, and we've got a really clear plan on what the future looks like.
So does each player sit down with coach, with you guys, and, okay, here's your stats, here's where you need to work on, here's what we're happy with, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So part of that sort of longer term plan, we map out all the components that we think are important for a player. All the coaching staff have input on rating each player in the key areas that we think are important. So all the staff get an input, the players then rate themselves. So it's like a 360-degree review. We're really clear on their stats from this year, what's expected of them when they return for training.
What sort of stats, Matt? What sort of stats are we talking about? Like, surely not just tackles and run meters. Break it down even more.
Yeah, all of the stats that you normally see are there. But the coaching staff have identified certain areas that they think are important, particularly effort areas. Yep. So there might be things that happen off the ball or certain components of the game where we've identified are critical, and we measure those. So they've been measured every week, and what we've been able to do this year is see when we do those things well, it does result in a win for us and or positive results for us. So those are the sorts of things that we look at. And they're all, as I said, they're clearly outlined. Each week they're reviewed. So the end of season review isn't a surprise to anyone. They've been reviewed each week. But it's an opportunity for us to sort of sit down as a group with each player and then be really clear on the performance for this year and what's expected of next year when they return. And
I guess head of high performance, Peter Mercer, is integral to that as well. And from a physical point of view, you've played at 104. We reckon you should be up to 106. Let's come with that type of stuff, or speed, agility, endurance.
Yep, all of those
strength.
things. All of those things from a physical perspective. Obviously, the doctors are involved. The head of performance leads that. But again, they're very, very clear on strength, speed, endurance, all the testing
I guess
measures.
they need to know that before they go for their end of season break, and what those numbers, what those metrics are looking like for when they return.
Exactly right. Yep. And it's been really clear in the reviews that we've held this week. As I said, each player's walked away and been very, very clear on what's expected of them when they return come November.
And what about the coaching staff and the football staff? They go through a review, I imagine, as well?
Yeah, similar to any organisation, I guess. Every leader and manager reviews their staff. So, Benji will sit with and has sat with all his coaching staff. Peter Musa, as head of performance, looks at all the performance staff. And again, we review each other's performance and hold each other accountable to what we're expected to do. And as I said, at the end of the day, performance is where we want to get to. So we're trying to identify all the specific areas that we need to improve on. And that gets fed back into an all-staff meeting where we review all of our staff and the program. And again, just so we're clear on what roles and responsibilities for next year and what we need to do when we all return.
Without divulging any secrets, but clearly bottom of the table. So in a nutshell, we need to score more points and concede fewer points, right? But what has anything stood out so far from the coaching football department, rather, that, look, this is one area where we really do need to work on? And rather than just say, look, defence, is there a specific area that let us down? Or is it a bit too early to say that?
Yeah, it's not too early to say. I think there were certain areas this year that did let us down, and we obviously let too many points in. So defence is one area where we certainly want to focus on. And I think there's a few factors to that, but we want to look at what sort of created that and what sits in behind. Maybe the reason why there was some ill discipline and we were the most sin-bin team, as an example. Was that because we weren't strong enough, so we didn't win enough tackles, and then that causes a bit of momentum for the other team, and then you catch yourself out of position and you find yourself hitting someone high or doing something that you caught out because you're sort of trying to catch up. So
knock-on effect.
Yeah, so does that, and is that related to week one of pre-season, cutting a corner, doing one less push-up, doing one less rep in the gym, not quite hitting your 1.2 kilometre time trial target, or whatever it might be. So making sure that when we come back next year, we're hitting all the targets, we're holding each other accountable, and then that hopefully has a flow-on effect so that we are strong enough, we do have enough speed, we're winning tackles, we're creating the momentum, but that starts 1 November when we return.
Has anything changed? Any major changes to the program, the regime for pre-season, differing to last year?
There's always changes, not really structurally. So we'll have very similar staff. We've got a new assistant coach, and Benji's been well documented in saying, he only knows what he knows, and year one of head coaching's been a real eye opener for him. So
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the way that he's gone about reviewing his own performance, taking accountability for how the program's run and what he needs to do. So I think we'll see a different Benji Marshall going forward. As I said, he's learned a lot from year one, and he's really looking forward to sort of putting some of those things in place for next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really open, and even after the Parramatta loss, he was like, well, I am a first year coach, and I've learned a whole lot, and I'm sure he has. So we probably forget that he's another big part of this club and this team that will improve next year based just on experience, right?
Well, I think we're all growing and learning. As I said, I think we've set the foundation. Richo set a really strong direction for where the club needs to be on and off the field. Benji, has a really clear plan of what he wants to do, and as I said, I've been really impressed with the way that he goes about his work and really analyses his own performance as a coach. Similar to players do. So I think we're on the right track, certainly.
Where we play then, obviously, we've had some good results at Campbelltown, good results at Leichhardt. We bring in Parramatta Stadium, Combank Stadium into the mix for next season, so we've got 4 games there. So basically, we've got 3 home venues next season. Our form at Parramatta has been pretty good in recent years, if I remember correctly. Has there been much chat around the playing group or the football department about playing at Parramatta?
No, there hasn't been much chat. I mean, as I said, you want to win every game and wherever you play. We really love playing at Campbelltown and Leichhardt, and that's been evidenced by some of the results and this year particularly in the crowds. So I think it's credit to the whole organisation, the way that everyone's sort of got behind the West Tigers this year, and I think they members and fans particularly see the opportunity that's ahead and are buying into the future, and playing at different grounds is just part of that. I think it's really great that Campbelltown and Leichhardt have significant government funding to enhance the facilities there. So going forward, those venues will be much better for us, and we look forward to playing there. But at the same time, like you said, playing at a major stadium, I think is a key part of what we want to do as an organisation as well, and future proof. What we're doing. The fact that we can sell out round 27 and not both teams not in the finals is testament to what we could do. And once we start winning more games and really driving that member and fan base and engaging them and bringing them along on the journey, I think Combank's probably not going to be big enough.
Well, it's a big call. We've had some cliffhangers in the last couple of years, that I've been here too. We've 1-point wins and 2-point wins, and we beat Souths, I think, wasn't it? And then a couple of real close wins over the Eels. So and I've seen sort of some of the plans in terms of one jungle, no limits. That place, you will know it's our jungle when we do take it over. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And each ground has their own unique sort of benefits. And one of the benefits of playing in a major stadium like that is, the music, the lights, the fanfare that all go with that, and the ability to put more people in there. So, as I said, I think it can become a jungle for us just as much as Campbelltown and Leichhardt are.
Absolutely.
Our proud partners, Pro Wrestling Australia, are the premier wrestling show in the country, with their home base smack bang in the southwest of Sydney at Campbelltown. High-flying action, PWA superstars, tables, chairs, the whole kitchen sink. Get yourself ringside at one of their upcoming shows. For more info, head to the website, prowrestlingaustralia.com.au.
Well, Betsy, we're almost running short of time, but you know what time it is?
What's that?
It's turnbuckle time, my friend. Now, you don't get off the hook, okay? You're the final contestant on turnbuckle time.
Yeah, right.
Joel Kane in our 25th anniversary year, and this is our final episode. He's at the top of the leaderboard. Now, I think you pretty much need to get, there's 6 questions worth 4 points each. 6 times 4, Betsy?
24.
And there's a bonus question worth 1 point. So that equals?
A little field goal for 25
25 points.
Yeah.
In our 25th seat. You got it?
Yeah, got it.
So I think you've got to get 25 out of 25 to knock Kane off the perch,
Okay.
so to speak, okay?
Yep.
All right.
We'll give it a go.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yep. Here we go.
Okay. You ready? What about the studio audience? Are they ready? You there? Come on. Liven up. It's our last one. All right. Righto, Betsy boy. Let's go. Question 1. Who scored the most tries for West Tigers NRL team this year?
This year?
This season, yeah. They're all about this season, to give you a...
Jareem.
Is that your final answer, Jareem Buller?
Yes.
Correct. He scored 10. There's 4 points for Betsy boy. Hey. Who was next, do you reckon?
Ooh.
It's not a
Samuel
question.
Alafanu.
No, Stainsy. Scored 9.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Question 2. Who made the most tackles for West Tigers NRL team this year?
I'd say Appy Coruscant.
Are you locking that in?
Yep.
Correct. Appy Coruscant made 818 tackles at an average of 37.2 a game.
Amazing. Can't believe what he put his body through week in, week out.
Who do you reckon next on the list would have been?
Ooh.
You're on 8 points, by the way.
Yeah. Who would have been next?
Sugar cane, look out. Yeah, who's next?
Seyfarth? No, that's not right.
No, it was Sam Weller.
Yep.
At 29.3 per game. Question 3. Tracking well, Betsy boy. Who made the most metres for West Tigers NRL team this year? These are all NRL, by the way, because we haven't wrapped up the NRLW season yet. They got a game on Thursday.
The most metres?
Most metres per game.
I I would go with Jareem again.
Sure about that?
I'm not sure, but that's my
You're locking it in.
That's my answer.
Jareem is correct. 3,397 metres all up at an average of 161 metres per game.
Yeah, what a season.
12 out of 12.
Still
Sugar cane, Sugar's sweating now. He thinks he's getting the car. We're going to keep the car in the building. Have we got that car yet? You're still working on it. Who was next, do you reckon? Metres.
Lockie Galvin.
Yeah. 130 per game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question 4. So you're on 12. Okay. How many players made their NRL debut with West Tigers NRL team this year?
Oh, geez, I should know this.
You should, as head of football.
13.
Yep. Is that you locking that in?
That's
Hey, is that your final answer?
that's my final answer.
Lock that in. Wah, 12. I've got 12, and I'm the media manager. If I've got that wrong,
Yeah, right.
well, I've stuffed up and
I
no
had
one's told me.
12 in my head, but I thought Tony Sukker might have just
He was
snuck in there
11.
at the end.
But that's the most we've ever had as a club. We had 11 back in 2003.
Yeah, right.
And the next most out of the whole of the NRL, as of last round, was Parramatta with 7.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Hey. Okay. So what are you on? 12 out of a possible 16. Give the keys to Sugar. Could tie. Okay. How many local juniors made their West Tigers debut this season? How many?
It was 6.
This to take it to
6 of the 12.
6 of the 12.
Yep.
You locking that in?
Yep.
Oh. Wah. Unless I'm wrong again, I've got Lockie Galvin. I've got Heath Mason, Jordan Miller, Luke Lalili, Tony Sukker. I got 5.
Yep.
You're conceding.
You're right.
Got
yeah,
that wrong.
yeah.
You good with that? Well, you had a great start, didn't you?
I know, yeah.
Hey, you're coming back to the field now.
I had 12 and 5 in my head, but Tony Sukker, I didn't think I counted him. Anyway. That's
All right. Okay. And no, we're still going. Like, there's probably runners-up prizes. Question 6. How many players did West Tigers use this season?
37.
Is that your final answer?
Not confidently, but yes.
Correct.
Oh,
37. Well done, Betsey. Well, so that takes you to what, 20?
no, only 16.
No, 16.
16.
Yeah,
16,
good honest,
yeah.
good
Yeah,
honest
yeah.
upbringing. There we go. And just on most players used, so we're 37. That's, again, a club record in terms of players used. The next most in the NRL this year was Melbourne Storm with 33.
Yeah, right.
Righto. And so you're on, what's he on? 16. Plus 1 point for the bonus point, right?
All right.
Okay. Matthew Betsey,
Kick a field goal.
what is your membership number?
1296523.
Boom! I should let our listeners in on what's going on here. So Richo sent the email around to all staff by Friday. You have to know your membership number. When asked, randomly, if you get it wrong, we're chipping in. You get fined.
$2 donation, I think. To,
Is it a gold coin? Right.
yeah.
Okay. And it goes to, we're having a donut day or something.
Something
with
like
those
that,
funds. Yeah. The message is membership so important, and everyone should know their membership number.
Yep.
So if you are a member and you get a random call from Richo, know your membership number or you'll get fined as well. Mate, thanks for jumping in, Betsey, and chatting and a bit of a review of the season.
No worries at all.
Disappointing, but I think there's enough signs around the place that we're going in the right direction. The club's heading in the right direction, and jump on board. Good luck with the off season. I know you're still really, really busy. It's people think the season's over, but actually, some of your busiest time would be coming up. Yeah.
No, there's lots of work to do. We're putting a full stop on 2024, but 2025 is just around the corner, and we're going full steam ahead. We know there's lots of work to do, and we're in for the fight.
Yeah. In for the fight. Jump on board. As Richo is always saying, it is a journey. We want you to come with us. One jungle and absolutely no boundaries, no limits on what we can achieve, but need to achieve it all together. Good luck to our NRLW team on Thursday night at Leichhardt Oval. If you can get there, get out there, taking on the Dragons. Looking for our first win. You get the sense that it might be edging closer. So good luck to Noddy and the girls there. A special thank you to Pro Wrestling Australia, to Chris and the team. Thanks so much for your support. I think we've given you the odd mention, and I hope that this little partnership has been good for you guys. It certainly worked for us, and you are a very important member of our club, really, as all our sponsors. So to PWA, thank you very much. Well, that's it from me to Tommy as well, our executive producer of Behind the Raw. Well done, Big. He's giving himself a clap over there. Enjoyed it, and it will continue again next season. A lot of work to be done in the off-season, but until then, keep spreading the word, show your stripes, one jungle, no limits. Goodbye.
Behind the Wall, the official podcast of West Tigers.